in people's heads, people in positions of power, if I may say. So, what music should be in a film or what a certain sound should be. And that kind of hampers creativity a lot. The complaint of every artist, I'm sure you've heard this a lot of times. It isn't so much that you need someone to be there in the industry for you. You need like this Godfather. There's a bit of luck and there's a bit of work, hard work, and there's a bit of, actually being good at what you do. It's a combination of all of these things, and even then you don't know if you're going to make it or not. I've just been fortunate that I've gotten work and people have recognized the work that me and I've done with my team and all of that. It's not about so much about the work you do and what you put out and the projects you've done and the names you work with and the big actors in it. I don't think it's any of that. It's more of like the simple things in life.
Hello and welcome to a special interaction we are having with Mr. Karan Kulkarni, Indian music director, composer, producer. Now he straddles at various positions. And you got to remember his name because he's a thriving personality in Indian music industry. Now let's hear from him about his journey in the music industry. So Karan, welcome to this interaction, my friend.
Hello, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for having me here. Yeah, hi everyone.
Karan, first of all, let me tell you one thing. We've got something in common, which is that we have studied at same universities, which is QUT, Brisbane, Australia, which is
Cool.
so we are both a product of QUT, and very good to know that the products of QUT are so creative and going so up in life and doing very well at.
Yes, I'm glad. It's such a nice university, and it gives you really good education and all of that. So, yeah, here we are doing all of this.
Okay, let me begin by saying that how and when did your interest in music production and direction begin?
So I think I started with playing the guitar. I think a lot of people start with playing the guitar, right? And especially in India, Western music as such is always around, but not everyone is around it, growing up. But I had the fortune of having it around. So guitar, piano, it's always been around in some way or the other. Someone's been playing it around me. Uh, and that's what actually drew me to music. It wasn't really Indian music as much, even though I'm an Indian composer. So I started playing guitar, and then that kind of led me over a period of time to get into music with computers. As you might know, all of us are Indian, and so we somehow have this affinity to computers.
Exactly.
So yeah, so I mean, it kind of led to that. So because I was also interested in computers and computer music, so that's how I got into production. And then I decided to eventually, study at QUT because they had a good program for that. So yeah, that's how I got started and got into it.
And now, when did you start playing guitar? Back in school or at university?
Yeah, in school, I'd say would have been maybe 14 or 15 then.
All right.
Um,
And
yeah.
after finishing your studies at QUT, you went back to Mumbai to begin your work over there.
Yeah, so I went back to begin my work, and there's a film I've done. I think last year was it? Mard ko dard nahi hota. I don't know if you've heard of it. So the director Vasan Bala, he's one of the first people I worked with. I did a short film or two with him, and ever since then we've done like films after that and TV commercials and all kinds of things after that. But that's how I started, and then I assisted Amit Trivedi for about a year,
Mhm.
who's a well-known composer here, a very well-known composer, I'm sure. So that's how it began.
Uh,
And yeah,
and you have also recently given the background music for Breathe in Shadow, which is starring Abhishek Bachchan, and
yeah,
also Shakuntala Devi, which stars Vidya Balan, and Raat Akeli Hai, which stars Nawazuddin Siddiqui. So
true, yeah, yeah.
I went through the trailers. They are amazing, man. The kind of suspense you have led to, and
Oh,
because
thank you
that's
so much.
70% of the job in that.
Thanks a lot.
So
So yeah, these three projects, yeah. Then, sorry, you were saying?
yeah, you go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, so these three projects, yeah, they've all come together and all released in July, which is amazing. In fact, Shakuntala Devi and Raat Akeli Hai released on the same day, you know, on Amazon and Netflix. So that's a nice thing to have, as a composer, to have these three releases come out together. Um, and they were all very different. Breathe is kind of dark and psychological. Raat Akeli Hai, of course, is very mysterious and it's kind of a murder mystery. So it's music is, kind of suits that. And then Shakuntala Devi is completely different. It's like orchestral and it's based in London and all of these things, very happy and bright. So yeah, it was fun because everything is so different. You get to do a lot of different things within it. So yeah.
Uh, uh, Karan, one very good thing which is coming up these days is OTT, these website episode series, and we are seeing a lot and lot of actors from even Bollywood coming and working in these episode series, and so are music producers and singers sort of getting more and more into that side. How do you see that as far as creative independence is concerned? Let's say a couple of decades ago, we used to have sort of a set pattern, a set genre. People would have to get into the industry and get themselves aligned to that sort of a genre.
True.
How
Even
the creative
sorry, yeah.
independence?
Yeah, so you're completely right. It's not just decades ago, even now. There's a lot of there are these set patterns in people's heads, people in positions of power, if I may say. So, what music should be in a film or what a certain sound should be, and that kind of hampers creativity a lot of times. And of course, this is the complaint of every artist. I'm sure you've heard this a lot of times. But definitely OTT platforms have kind of opened things up because when you put something on an OTT platform, it's out there competing with the best in the world, right? Say you put something on a Netflix or an Amazon or any of these well-known platforms. You've got content from Europe, you've got content from Australia, you've got content from America, you've got content from say the Middle East, everywhere, all over the place, and India, of course. So, and everyone's trying to break boundaries, whether it's in music or filmmaking or acting or whatever. So you can't be mediocre or average when you put something out there. It has to be good. So I think that opens things up a lot more because the audience is vast and the audience has diverse tastes. So you can definitely experiment a lot more. It's encouraged a lot more than say following a set pattern like you were saying back in the day. So it definitely gives you a lot more creative freedom than before. And I think over a period of time, even the artists involved, their sensibilities will grow and improve and develop a lot more. So I think that'll be seen in the work. Does that make sense?
Yes, indeed. And since you straddle both Bollywood as well as these OTT platforms, uh,
Yeah.
what is going to be your majority share of work in the coming days? OTT platforms or Bollywood?
Uh, It's hard to say because I have my hand in a bit of everything. I think even as a musician in today's times, it's important to do that, to have your hand, a bit of the action everywhere. So there are like, for example, I do TV commercials a lot. I do films scores, I do film songs sometimes, I do OTT stuff as well. So I'm not really locked down into a box. I'm not going to say that I'll just do this because each one has its own challenges, each one is interesting in its own way. So I'd say I'll just hang in there and see what interests me now and take that up next. So I wouldn't say it's one or the other. It's all music in the end.
Since Karan, music production is a very diverse field. You have got, you've got people who are singing, who are doing the creative work, as you call the computer engineering sort of a thing. So for our viewers, would you like to clarify it to them that what kind of roles are you mainly involved in?
Right. So when it comes to music production, right, it's a bit blurry even in the music industry. And I see this especially in Indian music because we've not really had the role of a producer for the longest time. It's only recently. And even that's it's blurry everywhere, I'd say. So originally a music producer was someone who would kind of, help the band achieve a certain kind of creative vision. So if you'd say in American music, you had a producer would be like Brian Eno or Rick Rubin or any of these guys who were like, the guys who take a band in, like say Metallica or U2 or Jay-Z or Limp Bizkit or whatever. These are the guys who produce those bands. They kind of gave them a direction. So we never had that. We always have had a music director who kind of fits both the roles of composing the music as well as, being the producer. But nowadays, producer has become a slight is defined. That's one form of the producer. Another, a slightly different form, is also a guy who's basically making electronic music on the computer. That's also called a producer these days, especially over here in India, in the Indian industry. That he's the guy, and a lot of times, um, he's someone who's kind of designing the music apart from just the melody. Not just composing the melody and a bit of arrangement, but also designing the sounds and all of those things within the music. Does that kind of answer your question?
Um,
I'd say it's kind of blurry because there are different kind people are called music producers in different situations.
and what kind of work are you mainly involved in? Since you're a director
Right.
yourself.
So mainly I'm composing a lot, and then I'm producing that mainly. Taking creative choices as to what it should sound like and all of that, which comes with being a composer. But then even, say doing it like just making beats and designing, say entire tracks by myself on the computer while playing them, recording things that are live, designing all of that. So I'd say that's really the role I'm playing as a producer of
Correct
my
me.
own music.
Forgive me to interrupt you. Correct me if I'm wrong. You have also sort of assisted in various background music projects in films such as Ishaq Zaade and
Yeah,
English Winglish, and there are a lot
yeah,
more. So
yeah.
also for the viewers that he's such a creative personality. I mean, we're really inspired by the songs and the kind of background music that those kind of
Mm,
movies carried.
thank
Uh,
you.
Karan, now let me take you back to when you were in Brisbane. And
Yeah.
now, so when you went back to Mumbai from Brisbane,
Yeah.
was it for the sole purpose of becoming a musician, or what made you go back? And did you have any connections in Bollywood and the music industry, or how
So I
did?
had no connections. Yeah, no, zero connections. Um, I don't even know why I went back. I guess at some level I'm the only child, right? So obviously, you kind of would want to be with your parent. Being Indian, I don't know how it works all around the world, but you kind of have a certain sense of responsibility of being, with your parents if you're the only kid later on. So it made a lot of sense to, be in a place that I could be close to them, but also kind of do my work and you know basically kill two birds with one stone if I can put it that way. uh, but then I'd say a lot of the music that I was into, and the reason I even studied in Brisbane, is because a lot of what I wanted to do was there. But that's okay, it's a small compromise that I made. For I'm still doing music and doing it, you know quite a lot. So yeah, that was a reason. um, Secondly, yeah, when I just moved, I had no one here, so I knew no one. There was just Vasan, like who I mentioned earlier, who I did the short film with. He had heard some of my music because a friend of mine used to, I think, was a friend of his. We had a common friend, so she played some of my music to him, and he said, "Oh, this guy is good. I want him to do something for my short film." And that's how one thing led to the other. So um, it isn't so much that you need someone to be there in the industry for you. You need like this godfather that they make it sound like. Of course, that helps, but like it does in any field, right? If you know someone, if you know people, it'll always help. Um, but that said, there's a bit of luck, and there's a bit of work, hard work, and there's a bit of actually being good at what you do. It's a combination of all of these things, and even then, you don't know if you're going to make it or no. It's a hard one to say, man. But yeah, to answer your question, there was no one. There was no one that I could ask for help. I just went with it.
And a lot of newcomers have to go through struggle. They have to knock from door to door, and then they have to get their foot around various projects,
True.
request people to give them dates. How much
True.
of that did you have to go through?
Yeah. So I'm not gonna make it sound like I don't have one of those stories where I came to Mumbai with 500 rupees and then, made it this made a massive empire out of it. It's nothing like that. I would say, yeah, it was difficult in the beginning, for maybe a year or two though, which is not too bad. And then of course there's been like, you know, you are always stressing about something that, but I think I've kind of gone past that now, so I'm in a really good place. But initially, I'd say there was, I'm just trying to think. It was a little difficult to get work because when you're just new, you don't know anyone, and you don't have anything out, any work out. So you will find a lot of people trying to get stuff done for cheap, trying to exploit you, which is unfortunate, but it's just, it shouldn't be this way. But that's, people take advantage of the situation. And of course, there's a lot of people who don't have, the means, but just want to put work out. So you're getting hired for those projects. So there's a bit of ups and downs there. There's a bit of disappointment, but it just makes you stronger. So I think it's definitely needed to make you stronger. That lasted about a year or two, three. That's it. But then after that, fortunately for me, it's been good.
Now, Karan, it is, as a media person, I'd really say we want these kind of stories to come up more and more because you are an outsider who is thriving in the music industry. And
Right.
back to what you said a few seconds ago, you said you don't need to necessarily have a godfather in the industry. Now, a
Yeah.
few weeks ago, I was talking to Mr. Sonu Nigam, whom I put
Right.
a question to which he replied that although there is no nepotism in the music industry, but there is immense
Right.
campism. And he said that 95% of the singers agree, will agree with what I am saying.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Do you agree with that? Although I do realize that this kind of question you may not want to answer, but what are your views on that?
No, I can answer it. It's not a. Uh, See, personally, I generally stay away from, a lot of people in the entertainment industry, film and music and all of that. In fact, I hang a lot more than with musicians rather than, other people who are really industry people as such. So I've never had that um, space to even, get into the politics of it or think of those sort of things. I've just been fortunate that, I've gotten work and people have recognized the work that me and I've done with my team and all of that. People have liked it. um, I'm sure singers probably have a slightly different experience, and of course he's such a senior singer, so I wouldn't obviously say that, you know I don't agree or anything. I'm sure it's true. uh, each one has their own experience. When it comes to, say, campism, look, a lot of the work I've done is scores. It's not songs. Probably I've done one or two films with songs. So that's where the real big money is, songs, and that's where things start to get a little more messy, I would assume. So yeah, it's probably there, but fortunately for me, I haven't encountered too much of it, and I guess that's all I should be saying.
Let me slightly digress from this specific topic and come back to your achievements. Now, your work has also gone into the Cannes Film Festival and various other film festivals, and you have
Yeah,
achieved a lot within such a small sort of young age.
yeah.
So, what has been your biggest achievement until now, and where do you aspire to be in the coming time?
I think it's yet to come because even with, in spite of doing all of this, I just don't see it. Um, I don't feel like I've done, a lot. I don't know what it is. But really, the things that give me joy are non-musical. It's like going to the beach to surf, or being able to play the guitar well. Just become better at it, or any instrument for that matter. Um, so I think in terms of achievement, it's not really, for me, it's not about so much about the work you do and what you put out and the projects you've done and the names you worked with and the big actors in it. I don't think it's any of that. It's more of like the simple things in life. I guess I started to realize that a lot more, just like a nice experience you had, or you had fun doing something. I think those things are kind of give me a greater sense of achievement, personal achievements, not so much when it comes to work. So yeah, is that a disappointing answer?
And
Were you expecting
that's that's
something?
that's the kind of spirit we want our artists to have. Follow your passion, and you are exactly following your passion, and we are seeing the result. I mean, you are doing amazing projects, and I'd definitely encourage all of our viewers to go through the upcoming projects wherein Karan has sort of assisted and crafted various background music, such as Breathe in Shadow, which is starring Abhishek Bachchan, which I just mentioned a while ago. On that note, Karan, I'd let you go. I know you are such a busy personality and you're a thriving personality. We wish you best of luck. I'm looking forward to many more occasions to talk to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Always a pleasure talking
A
to
lot
you.
of fun.